All right, let's do page 27, question 7. And it says, Jan lists all the factors of 40. And she put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, 20, and 40. So the very first thing we've got to do is we've got to talk about what a factor is. So factors are numbers that make up products. So for example, you would have a factor times a factor, and that is going to equal your product. So when we're talking about 40, we're talking about 40 being the product and what factors would make 40. So obviously, just like every other time, we're going to start with 1. So 1 times 40, or 40 times 1, will make 40. So the next number we start with 2. And we say 2 times what is 40? And why would we do 2? Because 40 is an even number. It ends in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. So it makes it an even number. So we know 2 times something will be 40. So we can say 2 times what is 4, and we know that 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times what would be 0? Well, anything times 0 is 0, so we're going to put a 0. So we're saying that 2 times 20 is 40. So the next number we look at would be 3. And when we look at 3, we would say, could 3 go into 40 evenly without a remainder? And so when we start counting by 3s, we know that 3 times 10 is 30, so we're going to start there. 3 times 11 is 33. 3 times 12 is 36. And 3 times 13 is 39. So there's no way to get to 40 because you can't just add a 1 to 39. So our next number would be 4. So we're going to say 4, and we're going to do the same thing. 4 times what is 4? Well, obviously 4 times 1 is 4. And then 4 times what is 0? And just like in the 2, anything times 0 is 0, so we're going to put this 0 here. So 4 times 10 are our factors, and that equals our product of 40. So the next number would be 5. When we know the rules of multiplication, we know that a multiple of 5 will end in a 0 or in a 5. So this ends in a 0, so we know 5 is going to work. So we start counting our multiples of 5, and we go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and there it is. So which multiple of 5 is 40? And that would be the 8th one. So 5 times 8, or 5 times as many as 8, is 40. So that's our factor times your factor equals your product. And the next number would be 6, and we start thinking about 6. And so we'll go 6, 12, then we'll say 18, 24, 30, 36, 42. That's not going to work because we went right over 40, so 6 isn't going to work. 7 would be our next number, and we would say 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42. So we went right over 40. That one's not going to work. 8, well, we can try 8. So we would say 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. And we knew that 8 would work because 8 times 5 works. So we are done because we've now looped back up. And our next one would be 10, and then 20, and then 40. So these are the factors of 40. So if I wrote it out, I would say 1, 2, 4, 5, 8, 10, and I'm going to come down here, 20, and 40. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of numbers, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 factors. So let's go back over to our question. I'll move this paper up here so we can look at our numbers together. So we have a 1, so that works. We have a 2, that works. 3 does not work. 4 works. 5 works. 8 works, 10 works, 20 works, and 40 works. So now let's go down and look at our questions. It says the factors of 40 do not include 5. Well, we found that 5 is true, so that A is not correct. B says the factors of 40 do not include 3. Well, that is true. So we're going to just put a little smiley face next to it because that could be the answer. Number C. Or letter C, the number 40 is not a factor of itself, and that's not true because we knew the very first thing that we did was 1 times 40 because you do 1 times itself, so that one cannot be true. And D, numbers always have an even number of factors. And that is not true. Because sometimes, what about 36? 36 has 6 times 6, and that's the same number, so you can't count it twice. You can only count it once. So you don't want to do that because that is not true. Anytime it says always, you got to really question that. So the answer would be B.